What are some study tips for high school students who are struggling and want to improve? When I'm trying to learn something, I pretend that I am teaching someone, and for some reason this helps. Write notes down. There's something about reading notes written down by yourself and it stays longer in your memory. Treat it like a job. Hit the books Monday through Friday 9 to 5. Work in the library, not your room or apartment. Don't miss a class. Work ahead during that 40 hours. This method worked wonders for me and I never had to stay up late trying to cram stuff. If you use flashcards, start with 2 or 3 and slowly add in more to the deck once you've mastered a few. I used to think flashcards didn't work because I'd sit there with a deck of 50 wondering why I couldn't remember any when I got back to the beginning. Maybe this is obvious for some people but was a life-changing moment for me when a high school teacher recommended. Like oh, duh. Reading tips. Don't highlight for the sake of highlighting without giving a reason. At the end of every text you highlight, write a short sentence explaining why you're highlighting that part. 2 or 3 keywords works also. At the end of every chapter in the textbook, write summary of it that is at least a page long. If the chapter is broken into a lot of sections, write half a page for each section. Reading the summaries will help when test time comes, and you can reuse the summaries in your essays if applicable. Writing tips. Write your introduction last. It sounds crazy, but this allows you to restructure the essay if you see it's not flowing correctly. Use an outline, or a brainstorm map. Even if it's only a couple of words, seeing your paper in the flesh even in the embryonic stage helps. Use the voice recorder app on your phone if you get an idea for your paper or project and can't write it down at that moment. You're gonna forget it if you leave it for later. If you're not doing it already, write your papers in Google Docs. It saves per keystroke, so you don't have to worry about losing work if your computer crashes. Proofread your work by reading it out loud if you can't have someone proofread it for you. You'll catch a lot of errors this way instead of just using your eyes. If you don't pay for printing, then print out a copy and go over it manually. Time management. 15 to 45 minutes of work for every 15 minutes of rest. Start with this and reduce it the closer you get finishing your paper/task, 30-30, 15-45 etc. I use 15 minutes intervals, use whatever you want. Homework organization. Start by doing your easier homeworks first and scale upwards towards the hardest. The easier homeworks will get you in the groove quicker than tackling the harder ones will. Going for the harder problems first already has you at a disadvantage and will discourage you from doing work. Study in short bursts. I remember a psych professor in college saying it's been proven that after 20 to 30 minutes of studying your brain starts to retain less and less information. So study for 20 to 30 minutes, take a quick 10-minute break, then go back to studying. Place your phone in another room while studying. Don't procrastinate or take a break before doing your work. The second you get assigned homework, start it immediately after school. This one might be obvious, but it's something that helps me out. This is not exactly a study tip, but if you don't understand anything, no matter how stupid, never shy away from asking a teacher. Number one mistake I made in high school was assuming that my teachers were always good at dispensing content in an understandable way. There's so much variance. Depending on your teacher. Plague your teacher with questions before/after class. They're hopefully there to help you. Take notes during class. Take a picture of the board if you need to. If your teacher goes off slideshows, get copies of each lecture. Supplement your teacher's lectures with lectures from the internet. There's almost always someone online who's figured out a better way to divulge the info than your teacher. If your teacher is confusing or going too fast, let them know, maybe multiple times. They might not realize. Look into private tutoring. Maybe your school offers it, or your teacher would be willing to help, or something online. A good tutor analyzes what you know so they can teach at your level. Get enough sleep and eat right. Keep your brain running at high efficiency for efficient studying. A change of scenery does wonders. No matter how amazing your desk at home is, studying in the library is way more productive due to social pressure and your brain knowing that you're here to study. Don't study in your bed. Go somewhere else to study, desk, library, school, and don't be afraid to ask your teacher or academic counselor what they think you should do. Most teachers are always willing to help students who show they care. So for second language classes, Duolingo is a lifesaver. It makes casual study much easier. Also, Khan Academy is an excellent tool that I strongly encourage you use. I learned from my experience that studying for hours doesn't mean anything if I'm not taking in stuff and really understanding things enough to the point I could explain it or describe it within some other example cases or problems. So ideally finding the best way you learn, and then sticking to it. Do you like to rephrase things to understand it, or draw it out, or other visual aids? Maybe saying what you think is important out loud is the way to go. Many options, but sticking by one or a few that suits you best and gradually working out how to improve that process is probably a really efficient way to study than or reading everything and then trying to memorizing things over and over again for a long period of time. Find out how you learn best. I learned by writing, so rewriting/distilling my notes was the best way for me to study for a test. You might need flashcards, or a study buddy to talk through tough concepts, or record lectures to listen to later. No use studying in a way your brain doesn't process. Learn how you learn and do it. Take breaks while studying. No monster 5-hour cramming sessions. I needed a break every 45 minutes or so. Walk around, do push-ups, or squats, or yoga, for 5 minutes then back to the books. Breaks help decrease the monotony, and give you something to look forward to. Have a trusted friend, elder, or teacher read your essays before submission. Seriously, another set of eyes can do wonders for coherence, flow, and thinking through concepts. This leads into: make a plan. No more last-minute shenanigans. Write down due dates and work backwards, leaving yourself enough time to chip away at projects, papers, and studying. Talk to your teachers in those tough classes. They may be seeing you struggle, and want to help, so reach out. Use whatever tutoring services are available at your school, even peers, and get the help you need. Sleep. Again, sleep. In high school your brain is still developing. You need sleep to process all you are learning. 8 hours or more is recommended at your age. I know it sucks, but clean up your sleep hygiene. Stick with roughly the same bedtime, and no screen time for at least an hour before bed. Exercise. Doesn't need to be extravagant, but make it part of your self-care routine. You can vent frustration, and it will help with sleep. Factor in time for fun. Just because you now have a kick-ass study plan doesn't mean you have no life. Long-term success means enjoying what you can, when you can. Make time for friends, family, pets, etc. Break the work down into smaller amounts. Make note cards or outlines. Rewriting the work can help you remember. It also can highlight brief facts that are easier to remember versus large paragraphs. Read it out loud. Find someone to study with. Study at the library or a coffee shop instead of at home. If you can afford it, get a cheap second laptop that is only for school. Do not install any programs other than what you need for your classes. Only use the laptop for school. Only do schoolwork on that laptop. These 2 things saved me. The best thing the military ever taught me was how to learn. You need to figure out how you learn. I personally learn best by moving and experiencing. If I'm reading a textbook or manual, I try and walk around while doing it. If it's a physical thing, I do it over and over and over until it's a kind of mindless thing. If you're worried about failing, find ways to make yourself fail. You'll learn that failure isn't the end of the road. There's always another option. This goes for everything about studying, to life in general. Study, take the test. If you get a B instead of an A, good. You know your weaker areas now and you know where to improve. If you get that A, great. Now keep studying. If you get an F, good. Now you know something didn't work, or that you have lots of things you get to learn now. The fact that you want to improve tells me you have the ability to do so. Get off Reddit, that's for sure.